We're excited to get going here with the scouting combine. It's a chance to improve our football team. I think we had a decent year last year. We still got a lot of work to do. We got to improve in a lot of different areas, but we've had good meetings thus far, and we're excited to get ready to get going. So, questions? Hi, Stacy. How are you? Good. How's it going? Good. No questions? Okay, we can get that over with. Uh, you know, um, we're actually the process that we're going through right now with Sam, Teddy, and Case. We're trying to determine exactly where these three guys are. Teddy is a guy that 2 years ago played fantastic. We thought he was a very ascending player. Obviously has a terrible knee injury. Don't get to see him play in real live action in basically 2 years. So there's the question with him. Question with Sam is, 2 years ago he plays in 15 games, starts, plays well. This year he plays in one game and gets hurt, and so you go back and look at his track record. And then, you go back with Case, he plays outstanding this year. And you go back and you look at, what he's done in the past and what he's at this year. And then really what we have to try to do is figure out what is the best scenario for us, and understanding that, trying to answer these questions on these three guys and try to go from there. So that's what Rick and myself and Rob, and how it affects the salary cap and how it affects the rest of our football team. We've won 40 games in the last 4 years because we've had a good football team, and I want to make sure that with our team that we continue to build and improve, continually improve on defense. They told me today we're 21 and 4 or something, and when we scored, what was it, Mike? 30 and 4 when we scored 21 points. So it's important that we don't lose the defensive part of the game, because we keep the game close. So all these things become a factor. So after we get done here, we get done looking at some of these young draftable guys, then we'll kind of sit down and we'll figure out the direction we're going. But I feel very confident really in all three guys. I love all three of them. They're great people. I love how they work. They understand how we do things there as a team and the way we go about our business. And it's important for myself and Rick and the organization we picked the right guy that is going to help us continue to move forward. If we don't do that, then I'll probably get fired. Well, Dalvin is an unbelievable player. Dalvin's a great player. And Dalvin will probably get the majority of the carries. But we have to be mindful of the fact that it's a 16-game season, hopefully longer than that. And he's going to take an awful lot of hits. So we have to not put him on a pitch count, but we have to be able to understand that this is a long season and be able to get him out in certain situations. Now, Dalvin's a 3-down back. Latavius can do the same thing. But I think it's good to have that change of pace in there with those guys. Well, and it's like I said a minute ago, the thing that I told Rick was, when we sat down in meetings, I said, look, we've won this many games in these many years because of this football team, because we've played really good on defense for the most part. This year, obviously, we played so much better on offense that we were able to go further than what a lot of people thought we would. And so it's important that we continue to keep putting pieces in place on defense. So what I don't want to do is say, okay, this is one thing, we're going to do this, and we're going to take away from the rest of the things that have gotten to this point. So that's the other thing. And Rob Brzezinski, our cap guy, does an outstanding job of saying, okay, if we do this, then we're going to have to give up here. If we do this, we're going to have to do this. If we do this, we can add here, we can add there. And so I think, all those things come into play. I, I think no matter what position it is, when you're talking about free agency or you're talking about people in the draft, I think you would much rather always have somebody that knows how you do things, the way that you go about your business, the way that we practice, the way that we conduct our meetings, the way that we are in the locker room, the way that the culture that we've built as an organization. I think it's always more important that you do those things first, and then you worry about it. You know, for us, we've been very, very fortunate that we have a really outstanding locker room. We've got great leadership. We've got great character in the locker room, and I think it's important that whoever we bring in, whether it's in the draft or in free agency or whatever it is, we're very mindful of the fact that we want our guys to fit in with the rest of the core guys that we have on this team. Quite honestly, I haven't studied them at all. I've just, we've been so busy with the free agency and all the other things. I'm in the process now of looking at the offensive line. I'll look at the defensive line next, and then I'll move on to probably corners and safeties, and then we'll get to the quarterbacks later on. Yeah, you know, it's really the $64,000 question with all three of these guys, right? I mean, can Sam stay healthy? Is Teddy what he was? Is Case the guy that he was last year, or was he 2 years ago? And so that's really the $64,000 question with us. Now with Sam, I love Sam. I love all three of them. Okay, so they're all great people. Sam was skiing in Jackson Hole last week. He's a tremendous athlete. So, I think he'll stay healthy, but who knows? I mean, no one has. I have a crystal ball, but I didn't bring it with me. But it didn't tell me if he's going to stay healthy or not. That's a good question. I think the big thing is Laquan needs to get out of his own way. He's a guy that works extremely hard, probably doesn't do things the right way all the time. We'll be in training camp, and he'll run stadium steps at night, which is not helping him for practice the next day. But he thinks he's trying to get better. He's just going about it the wrong way. So he needs to kind of get out of his own way and just let this thing play out. I'm just glad the Vikings don't have a new coach. Oh yeah, obviously they're going to, Chicago and Detroit, they're going to change some players. Obviously, I think Chicago's defense is going to stay the same. Detroit, we don't really know. Their offense should probably stay the same. In Green Bay, I think offensively they're going to stay pretty much the same, and we'll just have to look back on the track records of the coordinators and where they are. But, hopefully we'll play them later on in the season. We'll have more tape on them to adjust.
What did you think of Teddy Bridgewater's recovery over the last 2 years?
I love Teddy. As I said that before, this kid is a great competitor. He's got the heart of a lion, a champion. He's going to do everything he possibly can to be ready. I wouldn't have dressed the guy if I didn't think he was ready during the season. If he would have had to go in, I was comfortable playing him. Obviously got in a couple snaps in the one game, but I'm hopeful for Teddy, number one, that he has an outstanding career. He's earned it. He's deserved it. Hopefully it's with me, but if not, then I wish him best of luck. I'll give him a hug and hope for the best for him.
How is John, your coordinator, offensively going to decide to do with the quarterbacks, and then his impact on your offense, which I understand will look very similar, but probably after.
Yeah, well, to the first part of your question, I think he's going to have an input on the quarterbacks. I feel like, each of us are experts in certain areas. Obviously, he's an expert in the quarterback area. But we'll sit down collectively as a group, and we'll sit down and we'll say, okay, here's the order that we want to go and how we want to go about our business. He'll obviously have a big say, but it'll be a collective group effort. He doesn't know Teddy as well or Sam as well, as some of our guys. And, he knows Sam, but Case he doesn't know as well. So our input on those two guys will be important. And as far as the offense moving forward, it's really about what I didn't want to do. I felt like this was the best our offense had played in the 4 years I've been here. Now, I didn't want to come in and change the terminology and make the players learn all the different things. So what we're going to try and do is keep the terminology the same. Obviously, there's going to be some certain plays that you're going to run no matter who the quarterback is in. But once we decide on the quarterback, we're going to throw certain plays out, add certain plays to the ability of what these players can do.
How advantageous would it be to keep one of the three as potential backup if you score somebody in free agency?
Well, I would like to keep all three of them. I love these. These kids have busted their rear ends for me for however number of years. Some of them 4, some of them 2, some of them 1. But they know how we do things now, and I think that's important for the culture of this franchise and culture of this organization. But again, it's going to come down to financial things, financial for them, and maybe some of them don't get to free agency. We still got some time. Everybody, I know there's a lot of rumors, a lot of different things going on out there, but don't believe everything you hear, unless it's from me. Yeah, I think I think anytime you're with players for a long number of time that they can understand the things that you're trying to say, the communication between one another, all the different things. We can make adjustments so much quicker now than obviously my first year. But I think that's really important. I think we can get a lot better. There's a lot of things. I've got a list of like 7 things on offense, 7 things on defense, and things on special teams that I feel like in order for us to make the next jump, we have to improve on. And we did that a year ago. And quite honestly, all the things we talked about a year ago, we improved quite a bit. So if we can continue to do those things and keep understanding that we haven't arrived, we still got a lot of work to do. If we can continue to improve in some of these areas, then hopefully we can take the next step. Yeah, well, it's no different. I mean, the question is no different than is Sam Bradford going to stay healthy? Is Teddy Bridgewater going to be able to play to where he was? Is Case Keenum the quarterback who he was last year or who he was 3 years ago? You've got to go on your gut. You got to go on what you see. You got to go on his heart. Case has got I said the wrong word a couple of times, but he's got a big heart. And he's a great competitor. I probably can't say it on NFL Network. But he's a great competitor. He studies his rear end off. He works unbelievable amount of hours. So, but the question is exactly what you're asking. Is he this guy or is that? And all 3 of our guys have questions. There's no doubt about it. And it's our job to do the very best we possibly can to figure out who is the right guy, the right fit. And then once we walk out, the one thing about Rick and I, we sit in there and we can argue a little bit and say what's right and what's wrong. But when we walk out of there, we're together. The organization's together. And if we decide on it's Case or it's Teddy or it's Sam, we're going to walk out of there and we're going to say that's what it is, and we're going to go. I think maybe the Tampa Bay game, it might have been his second game that he started. He played outstanding. I gave him the game ball after the game. He went in the first game and probably didn't play as well against Pittsburgh as, he would have liked. But the next week he came in there and made the correct throws, took care of all the things that we preach as a football team. He did that day. So I think that started it. and I think the rest of the team felt confident with him.
Time for two more for coach.
Excuse me? Well, I think as part of, I mean, there's a lot of different things. Obviously I sat down with him. I didn't know him, but, the things I heard from other people about him, the job that he did in Cleveland when he was there with maybe not the best situation in the world. So I think a lot of those things, he'd done this for a while. People talked about what a great quarterback coach he is, and obviously that part of, your football team is maybe the most important thing. So, yeah, I think it's just a combination of things.
Now, last one for coach.
Here, looking for quarterbacks, he pretty much ran that interview, especially when they interviewed Carson Wentz. Do you plan to have him be like the primary guy, communicate with quarterbacks?
I don't know that we have primary guys. We have group of guys. We try to do everything collectively and figure it out that way. So, good. Thank you.